Okay, we are live. This is going to be really fun because we are going to cover rounded corner, not any other rounded corners, but uneven rounded corners in SwiftUI, which is really hard to do, by the way. But now with the right API, you can do it easily. And I'm going to go into the details in this video. Now, before we jump right in, go ahead and check out the link in the description for my Christmas sale. So let's open up Xcode, and basically this is a brand new Xcode project, and what I did is just added a new image. It's a portrait image for a reason. You will see why in just a second. And I just added this image, and we are going to add uneven rounded corners to it. So let's come back to the content view, and let's have a little bit more space over here. There we go. And what I'm going to do is, instead of the system image globe and the text, I'm just going to simply remove everything and add that image. So image, it will be a resource. So let's just grab the name of it. There we go. And then we can just go back and paste it in there. Okay, so yeah, it's a large image, therefore we want to have a resizable. And after that, now it's stretching it all over the place. I just want to have it to scaled to fill. There we go. This is much nicer. Great. Also, I'm going to add a frame. So frame, yeah, width and height of 300 by 300 is fine. Now, you will notice instantly that we did add the frame of 300 by 300, but it's not the square one. And we are going to talk about that in just a second. For now, we are going to add an on tab gesture, and I'm just going to print out tapped. Okay, so let's just see over here. We are going to print out tapped if I'm tapping on the image, right over here again. And if I'm tapping outside of the image, nothing is printed, obviously. Let's clear that so we can just take a look at it next time. So we want to add rounded corners, but not just any rounded corner. We want to have uneven rounded corners. So after the frame, we want to add it onto the frame, and of course before the tab gesture. We could just use the corner radius. I know this AI suggestion is not correct actually, but that will create corner radiuses on all four corners. What we want to have is uneven ones. So what we are going to have is a clip shape, and we are going to have an uneven rounded rectangle with the top leading radius, bottom leading radius, all of that. So let's just have option selected right over here and hit return on that one. I'm just going to add top leading. Let's just leave it with 0. Bottom leading, let's go for 60. Bottom trailing, why not 100? And then top trailing, 200. And then we have this style, and either it's circular or continuous. Circular meaning that it's actually a circular rounding of the corner. Continuous is the continuous one, which you already can see on any icon on your phone. So let's just go for continuous. Okay, so let's just wait for it. I know it's a big one, but indeed we have 0 right over here, 60 over here, 100 over here, and 200 over here, which is really, really nice at this stage. Okay, so now let's just tap on the image. There we go, tapped, really nice. But what if I just tap outside of the image, which has been clipped? Why not just tap over here on the top? And as you can see, the on tap gesture just went through. So it recognizes it, which is not great because we want the tab gesture only on the image. So for that, what we need to add is a content shape. So dot content shape. There we go. And this one will actually be the same uneven rounded rectangle. So let me just copy this out and paste it in there. So now everything should be okay. No any changes on the UI, but now let me just clear all of the logs over here. And if I tap on the image, it just prints out tap. Now if I tap outside of the image, I just see nothing is registered, which is exactly what we want. Now, this is kind of cumbersome. You want to make sure that you add a frame and clip shape, content shape. Let's just create a brand new view modifier for this, which will make our lives much, much easier. So right over here, maybe after the content view, let's just have a little bit more space. I'm going to create an uneven rounded corner modifier. So let's create a view modifier. And I'm going to name this uneven rounded corner modifier. Okay, so what we want is actually just pass along these radiuses, top leading, bottom leading radius, all of that stuff. So I'm just going to copy this out, create it right over here, and it will be of type CG float. And let's duplicate this 3 more times. Now I'm just going to copy out the actual names. Bottom trailing is next, and then top trailing is final. And then we want to also add the style. Let's just add that as the last one. Style, that is going to be a rounded corner style. There we go. And finally, what we want to do is just create our custom initializer for this. I'm just going to go with the suggested ones, but what I'm going to add is default values. So we don't have to type this over and over again if we don't want to. So default values would be 0. On the actual uneven rounded rectangle, that's also the default value. So 0 over there and 0 over there. And for the style, let's just go for the circle continuous. Okay. And yeah, that's it. Now what we want to do is, instead of this padding and background, let's just copy out these two. So the clip shape and the content shape. Let me just paste it in there. And now we can just grab all of our top leading radius and paste it in there, and also in there. Bottom leading radius comes over here. You know, we're just passing along the values. Bottom trailing is next. And then top trailing for the last radius. And of course, the style. So let me just copy that too. And instead of continuous, we are just going to pass along the style, which is, by the way, continuous by default. Okay, so finally, we want to create a view extension for our modifier. So let's create it right over here. So extension, view. Let me just scroll a little bit up. A function called uneven rounded corners. That's right. Top leading, bottom. I believe those are fine. And then I'm just going to add in the modifier, and then uneven rounded rectangle. Sorry, not a rectangle, but the modifier, uneven rounded corner modifier with this one. And we're just going to pass along the values. So let's just add option and then just passing them along. For the top leading, bottom leading, top trailing, sorry, this was bottom leading. I skipped one. Bottom trailing over here, and then top trailing right over here. And then the style, of course, is our style. And basically, that is our view modifier. Now, instead of all these two, I'm just going to comment these out, and let's just add a dot uneven rounded corners, and then let's just add in 0. Bottom leading, that would be 60. 100, and then 200 over there, and the default one, I'm just going to go with continuous. You can just remove it if you wanted to. And as you can see, we have the same effect. Let's just test it out on the on tap gesture. So let me just clear this out. Tapping, tapped, outside the image, nothing happens. Now, if you like these types of tutorials and how I build SwiftUI components, go ahead and also check out my Christmas sale. Everything for a huge discount. Go ahead and check out the first link in the description.